So I transform my life by being inspired by others, by paying attention,
Yeah.
by listening.
I
And
love that. I just want to stop for a second and honor that. Transformed your life by paying attention to others and listening and letting people help you.
inspire, evolve, transform.
You are listening to The Brave Files, real stories from people living courageously. Now here's your host, Heather Vickery.
Welcome to the Brave Files, everyone. This is Heather Vickery. Today's guest has dedicated her life to celebrating the lives of women who continue to live and love life their way. Silva, she says she doesn't go by her last name, but I will say it for you anyway. She's like Madonna. Mirzoian. Did I get it right, Silva?
Mirzoian.
Mirzoian.
You tried. It was good.
I tried. I appreciate that. Thank you. She immigrated to the United States, but via a lot of other very cool things. She's Armenian, born in Baghdad, raised in Australia. I think that's all very, very cool. But she didn't let the fact that she had to restart in new places stop her from creating a life that she loves and helping women all over the world do the same thing. Silva, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Very excited to have you here. I want to jump into your story a little bit, and I want to hear all about the cool things you're doing. But can you sort of start at the very beginning and tell us a little bit about your childhood and how you ended up where you are?
Sure. I had a wonderful childhood, actually. My brother and I were born in Baghdad in Middle East, Iraq. And I remember my parents taking us to summer vacations, different parts of the world from a young age.
That sounds so cool.
Yeah. And so we were introduced to so many different cultures from a young age, which I think has helped me develop to the person that I am. And I think that's an important gift that you can give to a child.
I totally agree with you.
Open up their mind and let them experience different things. So I was blessed to be able to do that with my parents. And when I was a teenager, my father decided that it was best that he would relocate us to Australia, where some of my family was already living there. So I moved there and enjoyed the second chapter of my life. I've had so many chapters.
What part of Australia were you in?
I was in Sydney. We were in Sydney.
Sydney. I love Sydney. One of my favorite cities.
Yeah, I go back at least 2-3 times a year, and I just love it there. But an Armenian growing up with a Middle Eastern background, moving to a Western society at a young age was really a shock to the system socially.
Tell me more about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, growing up as an Armenian girl in Middle Eastern society, boys and girls did not mix, and you didn't date, and all those things. And so all of a sudden I'm going to a school where there's boys and girls, and boys are talking to me, and it's just, and they're inviting to parties and going to places. And of course I was never allowed to go. And it was confusing. It's like, why is it okay for them? Why can I not do it? What's different about me?
Yeah.
So it was difficult, as a young girl, to try to adjust to a new country, new social understanding. And it's hard enough as a teenager. You go through self-confidence and esteem issues. Your body is changing, everything is changing. And all of a sudden, you're still being sheltered, or you're not talked to about different things. So it was very stressful as a young girl.
So how did you move past that? Obviously you grew up, that's what we do, and decided to make choices for yourself. How did you sort of break away from those ties?
It's interesting because what I said in the beginning about inspire, evolve, and transform, I looked around me and I would become inspired by others, how my cousins were dealing, because they were there also as a teenager. And I was watching them, I was learning from them. And then I had a really wonderful next door neighbor at the time. She was an English lady with 2 children. Till this day, I call her the Barbie doll. She just was a spitting image of a Barbie doll. totally different from my mom, who's dark hair and tall, but she was blonde and blue eyes and all that. So to me, she was my living doll. And I would ask her questions like, how do I do this? And why is this happening? This boy said this, and what does that mean? And all that kind of stuff. And so I transformed my life by being inspired by others, by paying attention,
Yeah.
by listening.
I
And
love that. I just want to stop for a second and honor that. Transformed your life by paying attention to others and listening and letting people help you.
yes, I mean, obviously, there's some things you will learn or you will see that it's not really great, but you will maybe try it and then you go into trouble or something by with the parents. Or not everything you learn is a good thing, but I guess we learn from our mistakes and we try not to repeat those, right?
Absolutely.
Try.
Yeah. So, at what age did you move from Australia to the United States? That was next, right? The US?
From Australia, again, as a rebellious little girl, I was called the black sheep of the family. The saga continued. I I married. I tried that. I
Tried
inspired
that.
to get
That didn't work.
married.
And in fact, you've been pretty open about this in other formats. That relationship was abusive, correct?
No, I didn't learn the first.
Oh,
It's the second one. The
the
first one
second
I
one.
married because I couldn't date. Look at me.
Oh, well,
I wasn't allowed to date. So I thought, okay, if I get married, then I'm dating all the time, right? And you get married and you go, whoa, wait, now I feel like I'm in prison.
yeah,
That
not dating.
this transformation didn't work.
Okay. All right.
And anyway, so I had after a car accident, coming close to death, I walked away and I had the nerve to tell my parents, I want a divorce. I want to come home. So
How did they take that?
not well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was already like a black sheep, so that made it worse. And in order to, again, the social implications or effect is very strong with it, especially the Armenian community, the Middle Eastern community, or Latin community. They experience that too. You're now a divorced girl. Now you should
Mhm.
be more at home, or who's going to have you, who's going to marry you again? You're damaged goods. I heard all those terrible things. And in all honesty, I had an adventurous spirit, so I decided that I would go travel around the world for a year. This way, I will lessen the burden on my family, and they don't have to deal with their friends and neighbors complaining about me all the time. Their divorced girl.
Wow. I mean,
So
it's so brave to decide to take off. And I'm sure they fought you on that as well.
well, yeah. I mean, I just sort of said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go on vacation. I had a friend of mine, and I was going on vacation. I went to visit my hometown, Baghdad, and then I went to Russia. From there, I traveled with a friend all throughout Europe, and came to America, went to Canada,
Wow.
and ran out of money and called my dad to get me back home. And my adventure, I said, well, why I have the tickets? Can I just make a stopover in Fiji to complete this trip? Anyway, so I did
And
that.
did he say yes? That's amazing, actually.
Well, I had the tickets, so I just did the stopover and
I
I
love
went
it.
home. It's the adventure side. I just love traveling.
Yeah, me too.
And, and sometimes, that's another thing, opportunity comes and you just have to have your wide open eyes and look into it and step into the opportunity. And, times like that I did. So
Yeah. You have to
and
step
I
into
wouldn't
your
trade.
opportunities.
Yeah.
That's a great line.
It's, I would not trade that experience for anything. No money in the world. That was the best thing. Talk about culture and being open to different learning practices. It was just incredible
I
experience.
agree. I think it's really hard to hate or dislike somebody that you know, and traveling is the number one way to learn more about people and humanity and connect.
Absolutely. You're
Yeah.
so right. You meet other people, you understand their way of life, their cultures, and you become more accepting. And it's not me or them. It's we. The
Yeah.
world is as we.
That is fantastic. And I swear, I think we could do an entire interview just on the bravery of travel. We've actually done that before with some other people. I love it. But you've done even more extraordinary things. So from there, what happened next? What was the next step?
Well, I went back to Australia and then I decided I was going to come back here. So I moved back to the US back in early 80s. And I was about 24 at the time, I think. And then the opportunity came and I thought, okay, now is my chance. I'm a divorced Armenian girl and here's an Armenian guy who is well-to-do and
Ah,
nice, and maybe this is my opportunity. I should just take it and marry him and say yes, and I'll become an acceptable woman
Uh,
after all.
and that was appealing,
That
despite
was,
having a wild side. Being accepted is always appealing.
yeah, I mean, that's what you always want, right? Isn't
Yeah.
that what we all thriving for? We want to be accepted, we want to be loved,
Yeah.
we want to be liked.
Yeah.
And, and I did that. And then, boy, that was a bad one. That was an abusive one. I mean, I was punched in the face and kicked out of bed. And oh, it was horrible. I
That's
just
awful.
lasted, yeah, I lasted 1 year. And
Did
I
you
said, I
tell
cannot
your
do this.
family? Did your family
No,
know? No.
no. I was so embarrassed. And, the stigma, well, did you ask for it? What did you do? Were you not
Oh,
paying attention? Those things. They never said that to me, but you hear it. And I thought, oh, and, people were talking about other divorced women. I thought, oh my God, I've been divorced once already. Again? Now what are they going to say about me? So I put up with it. And then finally I said, I cannot do this anymore. I'm going to die. And I just walked out. I just had the nerve to walk out. And that's when I appreciate how now through my business, I hear women who are going through such difficulties, yet they have that fear. And I understand what they went through.
yeah.
And it's just a horrible feeling.
It's so brave to just walk out like that because there's so much at play that makes somebody stay in an abusive relationship. That victim mentality, you start to feel like like you said, you've done something wrong. So it's so, so brave. So that's a lovely segue into your business. Tell us now, how have you taken those experiences and turned it into a business?
Life always brings you situation, and the so-called coincidences um, are ways to guide you towards fulfilling your purpose in life. I believe there's a genie inside every single one of us that's meant to guide us to living our perfect lifestyle. And there is such a thing. I mean, every
I
moment of
love
my life
that.
is perfect for now. It doesn't mean tomorrow is going to be perfect or
Yeah.
yesterday was perfect, but for today, it is perfect.
It's just as
And
it should be anyway.
exactly,
Yeah.
this is how it's meant to be. So I have to accept it as being perfect, and let's see if we can do even tomorrow better. So, and I believe in this genie inside, and I think we all have it, men and women. And I just decided that I came close to death 2, 3 times, car accidents, house fire, being carjacked, and then you think life is too short. You really have to start doing what you love, and if what you love is inspiring others, and if your story, which is what it started, I started speaking at Salvation Army
Mm-hmm.
because I knew one of the president of the local one, and he invited me to speak, and I thought, what the heck do I have to share with anybody? You never think.
Right.
People, this is the thing, most women especially, they look at their lives not as important as somebody else's. When in reality, every single life is a teaching story, is an inspirational to somebody else.
Yes. That's what
We
this podcast is literally all about, is that every story has a lesson and a way to connect us as human beings. It's
I
exactly.
applaud you for doing that. I mean, it's really important because women especially need to hear, they need to reflect on their own life
Yeah.
and pat themselves on the back and say, look what I've gone through and look where I am right now. Bravo to me.
I
I did
totally
this.
agree. So tell us what your business actually is.
I'm a published author, best-selling book, Jumpstart Your Life, based on my own personal experiences. I do lifestyle coaching, training. I actually, when I divorced from my husband, and I had zero money because he closed out the bank account, so I had no money. And his words to me were, "Well, now you have no choice. You have to come back." And I
Oh, ha
thought,
ha.
"Oh,
Joke's on him.
yeah, thank you for those inspirational words."
So what was the first thing you did? Like, how did you make
I,
money when you didn't go back?
I was lucky at the time. I had one credit card in my single name still, and I only had a balance of 5,000 on that because I just wasn't using it. And I thought, all right, I'm going to use this. I'm not going to tell my parents. Yes, they know I'm getting divorced again. They had no choice. I had to tell
Right.
them
Yeah.
because I left the house and moved to my brother's and sleeping on the couch. And I remember going to the bank to take money out. And that's how I found out when my mom was with me. And the teller came back and she goes, sorry, that account is being closed. but I was too embarrassed to tell my mom. So anyway, I said, I brought the wrong bank account. We have to come back tomorrow. I tricked her that way.
Okay.
Later on, when they read my book, they heard the story. They were just so upset that I wouldn't share that with them.
I'm sure that was hard for them. That's a total aside, but to realize in retrospect that your child feared so much judgment.
Exactly. That's a very good word. I was fearing their judgment and I didn't want to hurt them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why sometimes we spend so much time in our head overthinking what others are thinking instead of just let it be, let it out, and you may be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. I mean, we do that a lot. I often ask people, what's the very worst thing that could happen? And if they judge you, then what? What's the worst thing that could happen from that, right? But if there's this possibility that they could support you, isn't that worth the risk? But, those are mature concepts. Most of the people who listen to the show are adults. I'm in my 40s. I think those are very difficult concepts for young people, particularly young women, to really wrap their heads around.
I agree with you. I mean, I speak to my niece just about every other day, maybe sometimes 3 times a week. And, she's only 18, going to 19. Yet her life experiences right now, it's like, oh my God, it's the end of the world.
Yeah. It takes life experience. It takes falling and getting back up and having the world not end to know that the world doesn't end.
You see, that's the trick. You just said it. It's knowing that the world's not going to end. Just get back up again. And that's what I did. And, I went into real estate because a friend of mine encouraged me, you should go into real estate. You're good at this. I'm like, really? I don't like selling. I'm not a selling person. I mean, what is it about me that you think I can sell? I worked at Architectural Digest magazine. I love designing homes. I love furniture and all that. He goes, well, that's a nice connection. Anyway, I took him up on it and I did it. And, most sane people would get a paycheck type of a job when they have zero money. I'm not sane. I'm a risk taker.
I love that about you.
That was weird. So then I went into real estate and I had to rely on commission, which meant I had to hustle. I had to really, push the limit and trust my instincts and trust my abilities and get that genie to sort of, hey, get to work, help me here. And in the first 3 months, I did $1 million in sale. In those days, the commission of $12,000, that was a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Hell, but I paid off my credit card debt.
Yeah.
So I was living off. So that was it.
You're
I took
smart
off
cookie.
from there. Yeah. But it was just, again, opportunity. I didn't know. Nobody guaranteed me success if you go into real estate. I had to make it happen. I had to put the time into it. I needed to show up. I needed to be present. I needed to learn. I needed to become inspired by people around me. And that's how I evolved and transformed my life again. And I continued to do so. Then I went become a general contractor and started building houses. And it was one thing led to another and to another. Being a woman general contractor is rare.
I'll bet.
Especially in those days, in the early 90s.
That had to set its own challenges and also triumphs, I imagine.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I used to have contractors look at me and go, oh, is a contractor here? And I said, yes. Well, where's your husband? What husband?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I need my husband to be here?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the contractor. But I am the contractor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. And they will look at me up and down, go, right.
Yeah.
Until I open my mouth.
You can't know what you're talking about. They just make
exactly. Until I open my mouth and explain exactly what I want. And he goes, yeah, we could do that. I said, well, you should have said that in the first place. Sorry. You're not getting the job.
So you essentially continue to sort of fail forward, try new things and build new things. And eventually you got to this business. When did you decide to write your book, which I love, by the way?
Thank you. That happened by giving speeches and talks at inspirational, motivational talks to Salvation Army women. And then it went to a seminar here in Australia and people were taking notes and they came up to me and they said, do you have a book? I mean, I would love to read your book. It's like, book? No.
I should have a book.
Well, how do you do that? Okay, I know about publishing, but I'm the worst writer. My mind goes in different languages and I cannot even keep one sentence straight and grammar and everything. I said, okay, let's try this. And I'm telling you, it was just an inspiration. On my flight back, I'm looking out and I'm thinking, how do I write the book? How would the chapters look like? What would I call it?
Mm-hmm.
And
And
it just came.
remind us what the title of the book is.
Jumpstart Your Life. Waking 7 steps to waking up from the sleepwalking mode.
That was actually the next question I had here to ask you about. Was you describe it as waking up from sleepwalking mode. What do you mean by that?
You know, that routine lifestyle autopilot that we all live in, we're all guilty of it. We do it. I do it. Sometimes I fall back into it. When you get up, you do the same thing over and over every day, but you complain, oh my God, I don't like this. I don't like my life. What am I going to do? It's not going to change. Well, you know, that's a sleepwalking mode. You're just existing. You're not living.
Mm-hmm. I
And
totally
you
agree.
snap out of it. And when circumstances, situations happen, here's what happens. You either get fired, you get divorced, you get broken up with, or God forbid, you get into an accident. And then you go, oh my God, I should have done this before. I should have left. Okay.
Yeah.
But we had the signs, we had the red flags, and we didn't pay attention. So you get all these little notices from the universe, always gives you nudges. You know, that little genie inside is always saying, I don't think so. You go, no, I know better. No, I don't think so. No, I think it's good.
Listen, you got to listen. I call it your inner voice, but the genie, I kind of dig it. Listen to the genie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's about releasing the genie within to fulfill your life. And that's why I went on. I did the book, Jumpstart Your Life, 7 Steps to Waking Up from the Sleepwalking Mode. And then, which I have on my website and also on Amazon.
That was my next question. Good job. You beat me to it.
Yeah, my website is better. It's quicker delivery. And I took that. You know, the thing is, I'm a strong believer in when the universe has blessed you with talents and gifts to overcome challenges and still move forward and live a wonderful lifestyle, you're meant to share that with others.
Yeah.
And that's when I launched 20 years ago a nonprofit foundation called Passions and Dreams Funding. So we are able to work with a lot of nonprofit organizations for women and children at risk to help them step over their challenges and jumpstart their own life.
I love that term. That's one I've not heard before. Step over your challenges. Because listen, you're going to have challenges. So you can either let them be brick walls or you can step over them. That's beautiful.
Well, thank you. There's no growth without the challenges. It is the challenges that helps you, that pushes you outside of your comfort zone.
I totally agree.
Yeah, it's those challenges that makes you question your direction in life, your purpose in life. And if everything was nice and pink, perfect and hunky dory, it's like, where's the growth?
I totally agree. Throughout all of this, all of these changes and the difficulties and the triumphs, which you've had so many of, and I think they're amazing. Did you feel brave? Do you feel brave now?
I'm always scared, but I have to act brave. I have to be brave. You know, you have to pep yourself up every day.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be your own hero. And you have to constantly encourage yourself. Hey, let's try this today. What's the worst can happen? Am I going to die? No. Okay, let's try it.
That's my question. I love that. If you look back on your life, was there one moment you can now say, oh, I was very brave in that moment?
Oh boy. I guess stepping out of the abusive marriage.
Yeah.
The opening up businesses is very brave. You don't know if it's going to work out. Mm-hmm. You could lose money. Buying a house is brave thing, especially my way of doing it. I always buy fixer-upper house. I have no idea, how much work I have to end up doing. But I think the bravest was, and I think God or whatever you want to call it, that within that energy, that universe, is when I was carjacked, and I could have died. And I have no idea how I survived the carjacking. I have no idea how I survived it. Honestly, I think the angels just wrapped me up and protected me, because if that screwdriver went into my neck instead of my hand, I would not be here. So I don't want to change the drama of this, but it was just, that was and other women, other people have come close to even worse situation like that. But to live through that, and then you go, okay, I have to make this work. I have to give value to this.
Once you survive something like that, it does put things in perspective. Like, oh, I'm going to start a business, or I'm going to, rework a house, or what. Like, it all has a little bit of perspective, because life is short.
Yeah, you have to make, like, now is life. Today is life.
Right now.
Not, oh, you know what? In 10 years' time, I'm going to do. No. Now. You need to live now.
Now is the time.
Yeah, I don't care what age you're in. I don't care if you're in your 50s, 60s, 70s. You have to live now, and you have to love the way you live now. It doesn't have to be grandiose. It doesn't have to be full of champagne and caviars, but you have to live your life. You have to love your life. Doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It's none of their business.
I love that. I say that all the time. What other people think is none of your business.
No, doesn't matter. It's not important. They don't support you. They don't pay your bills.
That's right. I agree. Silva, tell me, how do you celebrate success? Big ones and little ones.
With my friends, family, through my foundation. Right now, we're offering makeover to women who just gone through divorce and abusive relationships, or starting over, especially women who are in their 50s and 60s, and they think that, oh, well, life is over for them. It's like, no. Let's do something. So it's giving back. To me, my celebration of success is giving back. I've lived a wonderful, blessed life. I've traveled the world. I've lived in luxury, the yachts and hotels and all of that. And I've been so fortunate to have that experience.
Mm-hmm.
And now when I inspire a person's life, an animal, and I help an animal or a child, to me, it means the world to me. That's celebration of success. Otherwise, what's the point?
I totally agree. I love that. No one has come on the show and given that answer, but that might be my favorite.
Oh, thank you. I mean, that's reality. And everybody who knows me, they know me as that. Is how do I do? I had one gentleman just recently, he was talking to me about business, and he goes, don't you want to make a lot of money? And it's like, yeah, but not the way you're presenting it.
Yeah.
Is there an attachment to it? He goes, I know you just want to do something for the kids and everything. I said, yes, I will do this program if part of the money will go to this. He goes, all right, whatever. If that's what makes you work for you, fine. It's like, oh boy.
He didn't get it. I understand that.
It's like, I don't care.
Well,
as long as the money goes to the kids, that's all that matters.
I'd love for you to tell us how we can learn more about your charitable organization. And then I have a follow-up question about that.
If you go to my website, which is my name, SilvaMirz, as in zebra, OIAN.com, all my charities, one is here, Passions and Dreams Funding for Women and Children. Mm-hmm. The other one is in Australia for cancer, brain tumor cancer. I have one there with my brother. And then my Power of Femininity, which is my passion of empowering more and more women to be the powerhouse of their life. And everything is there.
Awesome. So we'll have that all on the show notes. But outside of those organizations and the bigger, grander scale, what other charitable organization is your favorite to support?
I support Aviva House, which is foster kids, taking care of foster children, and we do a lot of work with them. We do Christmas parties every year for foster children in Los Angeles. St. Jude's Hospital, I donated one of my brand of dolls. I created a genie doll, Silva the Genie.
I love that.
I didn't tell you about. I took my book and I created a children's comic book called Silva the Genie, and then I created a talking doll. So I donate dolls to Children's Hospital and St. Jude's Hospital.
We're going to link to that doll. Can the doll be purchased on your website or somewhere else?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
We're going to link
And
to that
it's
doll.
Silva the genie doll, and it's all there. And
That's great.
everything you purchase from my website, the funds are used to support the foundation. That's why we've existed for 20 years. 20
That's
years.
Beautiful. That's really beautiful.
And that's all we do. We give back. And then what we're trying to do is, I know there's not many charities there, but if you can help charities that empower women and children, then you're empowering our future.
That's right.
And that's a magical thing. So just as my work empowers charities, everything you buy through me empowers a charity.
I love that. So friends, listeners, I ask this every week. You've got a lot to choose from here. I'm not going to ask you to check out every single charity that Silva's mentioned, although I invite you to do so. But pick one that most resonates with you and go and learn more about them. If you can donate money or time, please do so. At the very least, let somebody else know that they exist. Let's work together to make the world a better place.
Bravo. That's beautiful.
So, Silva, can you share your 3 words with us one last time?
Inspire, evolve, transform.
I think those are really beautiful words. And I'd like for you to share with us, because evolve and transform, which I identify with both of them, are very similar and yet different. And so for you, can you tell us the difference in evolving and transforming?
Evolving it's more mental. You evolve, you start evolving mentally, thinking about a different way of doing something, but only once you put into action becomes transformation.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Evolve mentally, but put it into action, and that equals transformation.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much for being here with us today and sharing your story of evolving and transforming. It's so inspiring. You have such a lyrical way of sharing everything. I'm really grateful that you came on to remind us that we can always rebuild. You can always create change and start over. Your past decisions, they don't define us. We're in charge. We drive the bus.
Exactly.
Thank you so much.
Perfect. It's just absolutely perfect. Just remember, people have to remember that they are perfect. Just keep being perfect. Just keep doing the right thing. Just keep being inspired.
Beautiful. Thank you so very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you. I love what you're doing also. So listeners, thank you also for being here. We don't have a show without you. As always, if you like the show, please rate, review, subscribe, share it with your friends, put it out on your social media platforms and in your newsletters that you send out, because we hope to touch somebody every week and create change and open dialogue. And I'm really grateful for each and every one of you. So this is Heather Vickery, and I'm reminding you today and always to choose bravely. The Brave Files is proudly supported by Lost Format Apparel, a socially conscious clothing company. You already know that homelessness is a huge problem. Over 500,000 Americans are living without shelter and millions more without consistent access to everyday basics. My friends at Lost Format know that solving homelessness is a much larger problem than any one company or person can solve on their own. It requires teamwork, sacrifice, strength, and building communities through personal and professional relationships. And isn't that exactly what the Brave Files podcast is all about? That's why I'm proud to say that the Brave Files has partnered with Lost Format, and together we're working to change the face of consumerism in addressing homelessness. You can now get one of 2 fantastic shirts custom designed specifically for the Brave Files. Each order goes towards providing necessities to the homeless. We have one shirt that, of course, says choose bravely, and another that reminds you that brave is always greater than fearless. Head on over to vickeryandco.com/store to see both beautiful shirts and to check out the entire product line from Lost Format. All of their stuff is super soft and comfortable and has an amazing fit. Use promo code BRAVE to get 10% off of your Brave Files custom t-shirts. And if you have an order over $30, your shipping is free. I choose bravely to take the plunge to help solve homelessness. Are you with me?
Thank you for listening to The Brave Files. Be sure to visit thebravefilespodcast.com to access the show notes and discover fantastic bonus content. Music composed and produced by Matt Lewis of Union Music, LLC.
Special thanks to our editor and audio mix expert, Andrew Olson. I am eternally grateful for all that he does to make each week sound so fantastic. You can hear more of Andrew's work at findandrewolson.com.